Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I hope that you are fine today and ready to learn the basics of English grammar. Before we start our today's lecture, I want you to subscribe my channel and click the bell icon for regular updates. Let me now tell you about today's topic. We shall be doing conversions. We shall be converting the given affirmative sentences of past continuous tense into the negative and interrogative forms. Let me first tell you about the formula for writing a correct affirmative sentence of past continuous tense. First comes the subject, then you add was or were as auxiliary verbs or helping verbs. Then you add the fourth form of the verb. Actually, if you add ing at the end of the first form of the verb, it becomes the fourth form of the verb. Another name of the fourth form of the verb is present continuous. Then you add the object or extension along with the full stop at the end. Here are some points that should be always remembered. If your subject is singular, you should use was with that as auxiliary verb. In case your subject is plural, you should use were as the auxiliary verb. Look at the examples now. The patient was crying for help. They were taking rest. You can see that I have applied this formula in order to write these two sentences. In the first sentence, you can see that the patient here is the subject, was is the auxiliary verb, as the patient was our singular subject, and with singular subject we use was as auxiliary verb. That is why I have added was here. Crying is the ing form or the fourth form of the verb. For help here is the extension and full stop. See the second example in which they is the subject, were is the auxiliary verb. I have added were because the rule was that with plural subjects you use were as the auxiliary verb. Then you see the ing form of the verb, taking, and rest here is the extension. So following this formula, these two sentences are written, and I hope that now you are able to write correct affirmative sentences of past continuous tense, as well as you're also able to identify that the given sentences is affirmative sentence of past continuous tense or not. The auxiliary verb and the helping verb would help you to understand that the given sentence is the past continuous tense. Let's talk about the negative sentence formation, because we have to convert the given affirmative sentence into its negative form. First comes the subject, then you add was or were in your sentence, then you add not. Then comes the fourth form of the verb, and at the end you have object or extension along with the full stop. You can notice that not comes in between the auxiliary verb and the form of the verb. For example, your affirmative sentence was the patient was crying for help. You can see that now this is the negative form of that sentence, and it is the patient was not crying for help. I have bolted these words so that you may understand fully that not comes in between the auxiliary verb and the form of the verb. See the other example. They were not taking rest. You can see that not is coming in between the auxiliary verb and the form of the verb. Never forget this rule, and whenever you are supposed to convert the given affirmative sentence into its negative form, you should add not in between the auxiliary verb and the form of the verb. See the sentence formation for interrogative sentence formation of past continuous tense. You take out was or verb in the start of the sentence. Then comes the subject. Then comes the fourth form of the verb. Then you add object or extension along with the question mark at its end. You can also understand, it's a tip for you to know that the subject and the auxiliary verb positions are interchanged. The subject comes in the position of the auxiliary verb and the auxiliary verb take the position of the subject. This is a tip for you. See the examples now. Was the patient crying for help? You can see that I have interchanged the positions of the subject and the auxiliary verb, and your interrogative sentence is formed. Your affirmative sentence was they were taking rest. So by interchanging the positions of the subject and the auxiliary verb, your sentence would look like this. Were they taking rest? I have got an exercise for you to understand and have a good grip on the topic. The question says, convert the following affirmative sentences of present continuous tense into the negative and interrogative forms. Here is your first sentence. She was saying something to me. You will add not in between the auxiliary verb and the helping verb. And your sentence would look like this. She was not saying something to me. And you interchange the position of the subject and auxiliary verb, and your sentence would become, was she saying something to me? See the second statement. They were enjoying the music. Your negative statement is they were not enjoying the music. Here is the interrogative statement. Were they enjoying the music? Your third sentence is Qasim was planning to buy a new motorbike. You will add not in between was and planning, and your sentence would become Qasim was not planning to buy a new motorbike. And this is your interrogative statement. Was Qasim planning to buy a new motorbike? I hope that now you're able to identify the given affirmative sentence of past indefinite tense, and also you are able to convert that sentence into its negative and interrogative forms. Now I want you to practice the following. Here are some sentences. They have been chosen for you. They are all the affirmative sentences of past continuous tense. You're supposed to convert them into the negative and interrogative forms. And after you have done your work, you should match your answers from this solution which is given to you. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Allah Hafiz.